We are going to begin our short program for this afternoon. We have had a number of individuals who have been invited to bring greetings to Ingrid. I want to draw your attention to the card that was developed by Richard, and it's by the wall, and very few people have actually signed the papers. So please visit that along with your tour of the pictorial history of Ingrid's ministry before you leave today. And I have a list of about 7 individuals who would like to pay tribute to Ingrid, and we're going to ask Ingrid to come up here and sit in the Queen's chair.
Don't let her go to your bed. Get her curls like this. Hey, I'm in the same balcony. I'm just gonna listen.
Okay, so I don't know if all of you know, but Ingrid has been a dedicated supporter of the youth for all these years. Her and I began around 20 years ago. We started the junior youth team, the extreme team we used to call it. We just call it the youth group now. And anyway, we started the junior team group mainly because our daughters were at that age. So we wanted to make sure that that we had a group for our daughters to join in and middle school age. So Ingrid and I got that going, and then after a while she kind of took a back seat, but not quite. She often would come on Friday nights, and she still has done that throughout the years, has come and visited us on Friday nights. And if I ever needed someone to do a devotional or be a youth leader because we're short a leader or something, she was always there. Thank you. So the youth have a little thing. We were thinking of doing a skit, and we thought, well, sometimes you had to be there because there were a few funny incidents that happened with Ingrid over the years. But we thought not everybody's going to get all those if you weren't there. So what we decided to do, we're just going to do a little interview. So we have a couple of youth who have volunteered. Now these youth are, fairly new. They don't know Ingrid as well as I do, for one. But they've known her, as she's come to our Friday night group and have appreciated her support. So I'm going to call up Tyler and Chris. It was supposed to be Alicia. She's one of our leaders, but she had to go to work. It didn't work out. I think we were just a little bit too long for her usual work time. So we have Tyler and Chris, and they have a couple of questions for you, Ingrid. And then I've got a suggested list here of questions that you may ask them. Now, I suggest don't ask all of them, but we just came up with a few questions that you might like to ask them after they're finished interviewing you.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Why did you start attending Emmanuel Baptist Church?
I started attending Emmanuel Baptist Church when I was 13, when my family moved here from Saskatoon. And we went to Emmanuel Baptist Church in Saskatoon, so we thought, we'll try the Emmanuel Baptist Church in Victoria.
I think he said why.
Why? Because my family came to the church. Not I came to the church with my family.
So this was an interesting question because at Youth on Friday nights, we talked about this in particular, and some of the youth said, well, they came to the church because their parents brought them, right? So we were just wondering if that happened to you too, that your parents said, okay, this is the church you're going to, you're coming to.
Second question. What different positions have you held in the church over the years?
Oh boy. That tests my memory. What positions have I held in the church over the last year? My first job here when I first came on staff as pastor was as a youth pastor. And then I somehow ended up through the years then became the senior pastor. So I think I've done all ages. And it's changed every time a lead pastor changed. We move things around and change positions. So lots of times.
Third question. What will you enjoy most about retirement?
She's gonna learn to swim
say my girls that they're both avid swimmers, and I basically dog paddle across the pool. So one of my goals in retirement is to learn to swim properly. And I want to take an art class. Cool.
One question is, do you have maybe one or two favorite memories that you'd like to share with everybody?
One or two favorite memories. Well, there was one memory where I think I traumatized Allie.
Okay.
We had Roundup and we had a dunking booth out. Oh, I think there's a picture of me in it, one of the pictures up here. There was a dunking booth and they threw the ball. Allie was very little. She was about 4 at the time. And of course, I got dunked. And that really scared her. She thought I was gone for good under the water. And to see what other funny events of my own. Oh, one time I was doing a baptism and it was the Lord's protection over me. I accidentally dropped the microphone into the water. So and I didn't get electrocuted, so I'm here today. So thanks be to God, right?
Another question that maybe test your memory a bit. Do you remember the names of 2 Sunday school teachers who taught you when you were first a teen here?
Yes, I do. I do remember. One is Jim Duxbury, who's Trudy Duxbury's husband. He was my high school teacher. And John Hall used to teach with them. They were my Sunday school teachers up in the youth lounge up here when I was like 14, 15 years old.
Finally, if you could change one thing that happened while a pastor at Emmanuel, what would it be?
I could change one thing. Oh. One thing I would change. That's a really good question. One thing I would change. I guess I would, in some ways I wish I'd kept track of the people that I've encountered through this church in all these years. And very special people, and when I get to my age, 70, I start to forget some of the names of the people I knew when I was 30. But they were all very important people to me. And so probably keeping a little bit more of a record of all the wonderful people I've known here.
So you can choose one or two of those.
One or two.
Ask these youth right here.
Okay, here's a good one at the very top one. What do you think pastors actually do?
Well, I think that pastors probably do a lot of different things. I think that pastors help out at the church a lot. But I think most importantly, pastors help other people to be closer to the Lord and to help serve the Lord more closely.
Great, thanks. I originally thought that pastors actually lived in the church and they would work here full time.
My mother did.
Nice. Alright.
One time I lived in the church for 3 days. Remember the snow? Big snow that we had? And Allie and Lydia and I came over. It started to snow and it was a Saturday night, so we bussed over and put a message on the church phone thing that said that there would be no service tomorrow because of the snow. And then it started to get really, really, really snowy. And so I said, let's just stay overnight because it's getting dark now and it might be easier to go home in the morning. That was the night of the big dump. So we did not get out of this building for three more days. We were stuck in the building for 3 days. What is your favorite thing about coming to Emmanuel?
I think definitely my favorite thing about coming to Emmanuel is like the sense of community that you get here. Everyone here is really nice and it's wonderful to talk with all the people and get like their life experience, and it's just really nice to come and have like a group of people that I know I can talk to.
Well, I really like it because it has great community. I feel safe here and I have a lot of good friends here that I can talk to.
That's great. Thank you so much. Is that good?
That's great. Staying up here longer, or is he gonna stay up here, or should he go sit down?
She's gonna stay here.
I think that it is interesting that Ingrid shared that memory of spending 3 days in this particular facility. And one of the things that has been on her heart and her mind, but has been unfortunately pushed to the back and has just recently landed on my lap, is a community emergency center plaque. And a number of years ago, the church purchased a shed, but we sort of haven't gotten around to stocking it yet. And about a week ago, the chairman of the Pollen Fund said, you know, we funded this about years ago, and I think something should happen around it. And so I approached Ingrid, and she went to her files, pulled me out the supply list, and I unfortunately committed the Tuesday crew to do a shopping bee to stock our emergency preparation shed for this community at large, and basically probably everyone that's here now will know that this does exist. And so it's our goal, Ingrid, to complete that project within the next 6 months. That should give us enough time to do it. Thank you. And thank you to our youth for all of the things that they do. They send up our coffee. They'll be around here helping us to take down everything today and do the cleanup. And that's the young types, and then also some of the older youth as well. And if anyone else wants to stick around and give us a hand, you're more than welcome to do that too. We have a number of individuals who did indicate that they wish to address Ingrid this afternoon in our presence. And it's a pleasure today to welcome Deborah Newbert. And then after her, Nick Wismer.
It's okay. He's getting her notes.
Yeah, speaking isn't really my gift.
You have to work.
I just want to say thank you, everybody, for coming today.
Oh, this, okay. I don't have experience with this. Be patient.
Thank you, everybody, for coming today to honor Ingrid and the difference she has made in the community through her service and ministry at Emmanuel Church. My name is Deborah, and I worked at Emmanuel in the preschool, which is now daycare. I was in the daycare also, the after-school care, and also helped with some summer camps. Altogether, around 15, 16 years, something like that. And I just retired in July of 2021 to be a full-time grandma. But I was hired by Ingrid, answering a Times Colonist ad, which is old school, 1999, not knowing how that would change my life. And after being hired, I discovered that we were neighbors also. So I got to know Ali and Lydia and the family, and we spent many a time in the pool together. So I have, I'm going to do this with 2 hands here, but not to do that. Anyway, I just wanted to honor Ingrid today with an acronym for your name, Ingrid. So I is for integrity. Find it here. Okay, integrity. integrity. There's the I, you can hold it up. And Ingrid has integrity. She is honest and has a strong moral principles. Also, the I stands for inclusion. Emmanuel Preschool was always known for being inclusive, and we did not turn any children away. Over the years, because of Ingrid, we welcome children with all diverse abilities, and I learned a lot through this, and Ingrid was a great example to me. N is for near and dear, and Ingrid is near and dear to so many, from little ones all the way to seniors. Ingrid is near and dear to so many. She was involved, as everyone knows here, when you were asked the question, what ministries did you were you involved in over the years? I was thinking, which ones weren't you involved in? A question, because I don't think there's many. Other than, well, you probably did the caretaking too, I'm sure. You did some of that. But I know you helped us in the preschool, and you did, yeah, I can't imagine what you didn't do. So, and G is for God-centered. There we go. So Ingrid, God-centered, sharing the gospel, again from the preschool all the way to the seniors and the student dinners. Ingrid shared God's love with the whole community and was involved with the summer camps, like the outreach. It was amazing. Just touched the whole community here. I just got a flashback. I never used to like to read in front of the class in school, so here I am. Okay, G-R. I'm on this one. Here we go. There's your R. And R is reliable. Ingrid's words and actions have always been reliable. Many times I'd knock on your door, which was usually open anyway, and I would have a question or concern, and Ingrid was always there to listen, and she was reliable and also resourceful. She was able to come up with ideas and just resources for different needs that we came across over the years. There are many of them. I is involved and invaluable. Ingrid was involved in most ministries and aspects of Emmanuel, and her experience was invaluable. Since arriving as a student and now retired as a senior, she's covered the gamut. Last one is D. And Ingrid is decisive and dedicated. Ingrid was in a role of decision-making, again, on the board at the preschool, and so many different decisions she had to make relating to the many dimensions of the ministries at Emmanuel. She had to deal with the hiring and firing, I guess, dealing with parents, children, and the list goes on. And I remember Ingrid offered me a position driving the bus, the old bus that's no longer here. You've outlasted the bus. But, that bus, I was asked to drive the bus, and so I did my learners, and I got that down, and then I got in the bus to drive, went one time around the circle and decided this isn't for me. And I was really worried because I thought, well, I've taken this. I was working in the preschool in the morning, but then I was going to have a split shift and do the after school care and drive this bus. And I was thinking, oh, I can't do it. And then I have to talk to Ingrid about it. So I left a message and met with her the next morning, and I was really nervous. But Ingrid was totally, she was just fine. She said, well, that's okay. We'll find someone else to drive the bus. I thought I'd be out of a job, but she said, no, you be with the children, and we'll find another bus driver. And in the end, Ingrid ended up being, for a period of time, you drove the bus. So she even did that. And oh, I'm not quite finished here. So I just So Ingrid has dedicated, well, you, Ingrid, have dedicated most of your life to Emmanuel and played a major role over these past 40 plus years. And you leave an incredible legacy. So I just want to pray a special blessing. May the Lord bless and keep you. May his face shine upon you. And may he grant you peace as you pass on the torch.
Rick.
Hi, Ingrid. What can I say about Ingrid? Well, I'll tell a story. So when I was young and foolish, I ended up at the BMW dealership downtown. A guy named David Brown. Who remembers David Brown? Oh, there's some. Okay, so David Brown was a salesman there. And so I went in there and he said, you know, if you're looking for some activities, you should go to Emmanuel Baptist Church. So I said, okay, I'm going to check this place out. So a couple of weeks later, I walk into Emmanuel Baptist Church to find out what this place is all about. Who meets me? Ingrid. Ingrid meets me. And the surprising part was I was pretty wild at the time. And the first thing she says to me is, you should come and hang out with the youth. And in no time, I'm in this very gymnasium playing sports with youth. And she just let me run with it. And I'm like, she really trusts me. Like, what's going on here? And in no time, I started to feel a little tug from the Lord to get involved in ministry in a more direct way. And she and the pastors here were very supportive. And so I work with Youth for Christ now, Youth for Christ Victoria. I've been there for 26 years. So I value her support, her encouragement. Ingrid sees not what's in front of her. She sees potential. And that's certainly true in my life. So I am thankful for her. And the next thing you know, I'm involved in the young adult group, and I felt woven into the fabric of Emmanuel. And so Ingrid was a big part of that. So give this lady a big hand.
Wilma. And then Catherine.
When I came to Emmanuel years ago, many years ago, right up, nobody's ever accused me of speaking too quietly. I was happy to be part of an inclusive preschool, all kinds of children. Ingrid was so supportive of us and our staff and the children. And when an opportunity came to take our preschoolers to visit the seniors at Mount Edward's Court, they sent a bus with seatbelts to get us. It was a good experience for all. Some people only left their rooms to see the little children. We sang and danced and interacted, and we all benefited from our visits. The seniors sang along with the nursery rhymes. It isn't long. There's a Welsh proverb that says, when the music changes, so does the dance. Ingrid has learned many dance steps in her time here, and now her new life will provide her with more dance steps.
I don't know about that.
Oh yes, I'm sure. I'm the older citizen here, so I know. A friend is someone who comes into our lives and hearts and quietly stays for a while, leaving footprints in our hearts, and we are never the same. Best wishes to my friend Ingrid.
Catherine, let's see, Catherine Coop. Okay, thank you. Somebody by the name of Fitting something? Oh, Fitter. Oh. And he's taken off.
Ingrid.
Now this guy can stretch a 20-minute sermon into 45 minutes without even trying.
All right, people, plug your meters, take your shoes off, relax. You're not getting out of here anytime soon. No, Ingrid.
Yes, Robert.
Moses was sent to the desert for 40 years. It took 40 years to get that guy in shape. Take him down from his high horse and humble him and put him through the fire of the obedience of God to become a great leader of Israel. So we expect you to show up. You were only in preschool. You're ready for another 40 years. And, you get to this age where you actually know what's going on. In fact, you know every ministry and every part of every ministry of what's going on. But you're also at the age where nobody listens to you anymore. Right? So that's called being a wise person. So Ingrid will always be available to be a font of wisdom for this church going forward. Now, we heard a lot of beautiful things said about Ingrid, and character traits that we all know very, very well. The hard work. Indeed, just hard work. You outlasted that bus. They don't make them like they used to. I mean, pastors, on buses. But I have a couple of attributes of Ingrid that I think hold dear, that I hold dear. You need to know that I came from education into ministry. I had no actual pastoral experience when I came in 2005. This church took a chance on me, not knowing what I would be like as a pastor, and I was apprenticed under Ingrid. And Ingrid taught me everything about how the things work here at Emmanuel, but also how to pastor. And I don't think I'm a natural at it. And I have to say, to this day, Ingrid, I thank you for those 7 years of learning that I spent being with you side by side, and often you coached me and spoke with me, but often you were just an example to watch and to follow. For instance, I'll tell you something Ingrid does. When Ingrid walks into a room and there's activity and ministry going on, and there's somebody in the corner who's being ignored, that's the person Ingrid sees and thinks, how can that person be included? How can that person be made to feel that they belong and they're not being left out? That I always saw about Ingrid. But the first attribute that I want to extol Ingrid is courage. People think of Ingrid as strong, and there's different kinds of strength, but courage is a great strength. And when I was just getting started in educational ministry at the Mustard Seed 40 years ago, and heard about this woman minister, who ever heard of such a thing among the Baptists? The courage that it took to be a woman pastor in a man's world. You know how tired I am of man's world. You know what men have done with the world? Yes. Well, that's another thing, I was pretty conservative when I came here. Not just working with Ingrid, but I sat on what I can now in hindsight say was one of the best church boards I've ever been a part of. And it was a board of men and women who worked together. And there were many times when men made decisions and it was the woman's voice that said, "Are you guys nuts? That is not the way to go." It took courage for a woman to step into ministry in those days and to be faithful and steer this ship until here we are today. So Ingrid's courage, I had the courage to cry in the pulpit. You know, leading by example. I never cried in the pulpit. I was a macho preacher. Until Ingrid gave me permission to be soft and cry. Except for me, my throat chokes up and I can't speak, which is a blessing from God in the eyes of many people. But Ingrid can cry right through a sermon, go up into the crying stage, and get right back down into the message, and not miss a beat. Courage. There's something else. For me, Ingrid, my best memories are being in your office with you. And sitting opposite you like this, and we would sit like this, and we would solve problems, and talk about ministry, and pray together, and think what is best for the church. And one of the things that I have in my face when I'm thinking of that is this woman's sense of humor. There are many church ministers and pastors who don't have a sense of humor. And this kind of humor, though, this is a humor based in joy. There's a joy. And it is the humor that you use to deal with pain and hardship because you'd go crazy otherwise. Yeah. So Ingrid's strength comes through in the way she can laugh, and laugh right through those tears, and smile. And every day when I came here, there was something we laughed about. We laughed all the time together, to the point of being problematic. So when they say, what do pastors do? I don't know, they're sitting in the office laughing and then crying and then laughing. Joy. Is a joyful, courageous woman. And then, something else that's interesting is, as you know, I'm an intellectual. I've done a lot of studying, and I love theology and philosophy. And in that, in my journey, I have had to learn to change my mind. I have had to unlearn things I thought I was certain about, and then realize, I think I was wrong. I need to change. That's a hard thing. That takes courage too. You know, Ingrid is an open-minded, inquisitive learner. I have seen Ingrid change and develop and deepen over the years as a mind, as a thinker, as a person whose opinions broadened, whose heart deepened, who has become a more inclusive, loving person. It's hard to change your mind, especially in the church scene where we're very strong on certain opinions we hold. And to be open-minded and learn and become Dr. Ingrid White at the end of the day, yeah, those are things to be proud of, and we're proud of you. We're proud of you. So my courageous, open-minded, joyful, talented friend, thank you so much for a 7-year apprenticeship with you that I will never forget. Thank you.
Thanks, Rob. Is there anyone else? I see Peter here. Don't come up, Peter. Peter, no, just don't. I can handle it.
Hello, folks. Pastor Ingrid was a kind, caring, and compassionate minister. She had an incredibly long service for the Lord, 40 years. And something else I noticed, at special events, Pastor Ingrid helped out with things where most ministers wouldn't do that. We will miss you, Pastor Ingrid. Thanks.
Is there anyone else who would just like to? Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dennis. Ingrid, I bring greetings from First Baptist Victoria, one of Emmanuel's sister churches here in Victoria, and I also bring you greetings from the Regional Advisory Team, BC and the Yukon. One of the first time the very first time I sat on a stage with Ingrid was to bring a eulogy for Corey Lewis. Ingrid and I spoke for our pets. Me for Teddy Teabag, my cat, and Ingrid for April. And we told everyone how much Corey meant to us through our animals. And it was certainly the most unique eulogy I've ever given. And it was a lot of fun. And I really appreciated that day, getting to know you better. Over the years, so many different pastors had come and gone to Emmanuel, and at First as well. And when a new pastor would come in, many would ask me, who's this Ingrid White up at Emmanuel? And I'd say, she's the glue that holds Emmanuel together. And you truly are. And it's just been a blessing to know you over the years. So grateful to know you and your girls. God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I'm just going to pass the mic to Rose Abel here.
Well, I've known Ingrid for about half a century. We go back a long time. And I've never known anyone as dedicated to the Lord and to the church as Ingrid. She has just been a marvelous pastor, and I've gone to her many times with questions, things that I wasn't sure about. And she always had the right answer. And I could just go to her anytime at all. If I needed advice about anything, she's so practical and down to earth, and she always told me the right thing. Well, you should do this and maybe that, and it always turned out just right. And I just appreciated and valued her friendship over so many years. And I just love you, Ingrid, and I hope you're not going to retire completely.
I'll still be here.
Anyway, I just want to thank you for your service, and I've valued your friendship for a long time.
Thanks.
I just wanted to mention that Rose was the person that interviewed me for church membership at Emmanuel Baptist Church.
That was a good decision, Rose. Thank you. Is there anyone else? Yes.
Yeah, I just gotta say, I just absolutely think the world of you, Ingrid. Nobody's mentioned that Ingrid, she gives so much. She's very involved with Special Olympics. She did a lot for Special Olympics, Steve helping out all the time in so many ways at Special Olympics for so many years. How many years?
About 17.
Yeah, that's huge. And yeah, like I don't know, maybe 10 years ago, a lady came up and asked Ingrid if she knew anybody that could hang out with her brother. Her brother was stuck in the house quite a bit, and Ingrid recommended me. And so David and I have been hanging out for about 10 years, and we just have so many incredible experiences together. just because of a few words from Ingrid. So thank you very much for, I could say more, but thanks a lot, Ingrid.
Thanks a lot.
We'll get Lydia the opportunity for a rebuttal here in just a second. I see someone else in the room. I guess it's you, Lydia.
Hi. I just wanted to say thank you to everybody for helping basically raise me, and I have learned a lot from everybody, and I want to say thank you for giving my mom the opportunity to serve in the church and give her opinions, and I didn't really prepare anything. I just wanted to say thank you, and I'm grateful for all of you, and you all have taught me a lesson in some way or form. So I just wanted to say thank you.
Where do I start? Well, first of all, Mom, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart, and I want to just thank you for all the opportunities you have given me, and worked with all my anxiety and worries, and knowing you, everything's gonna be all right. And then you want to turn around and but yeah, thank you, Mom, for everything you have done, and yeah, thanks.
Thank you.